knows, but it is not the case that Pathan women are as the helpless pawns that Westerners often assume them to be. Outside interference, however well-meaning, ends up being colonial. It seems to me that these developments have to happen from within. And now, of course, all feminists within Afghanistan and Pakistan are accused of being poodles of the Americans and trying to Americanize things. Now, if the external interference was not there, then they could brush those kind of dismissive arguments aside much more easily than they can today.
Okay.
I think today there's been a lot of mud thrown towards Sharia, and what Sharia actually is and what it actually represents. I think one mention the word Sharia, images come to your mind. Flogging or amputation and so on. But this is not what Sharia is. Sharia, when we talk about Sharia, we're talking about a corpus of law that governs society in terms of society, in terms of economy, politics, judiciary, foreign relations. It's comprehensive in terms of outlook and governance of society. And Noah Feldman, a professor of international law at Harvard University, he's written a book last year, The Fall and the Rise of the Islamic State. And in that book he mentions that Sharia is more than just punishment. It's a way of life, it's ideological, it's about solving human problems. And he mentions that the movement that calls for Sharia are not calling for sexism, are not calling for immorality or oppression, they're calling for justice, economic, social, and political justice. Because we have to remember that the Muslim world since 1924, post-Ottoman Caliphate, has been living under authoritarian governments and regimes. Whether it's Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, Bangladesh, Pakistan, there's a cry for justice. And this is what Sharia represents in the eyes of the people. That's just a quick point. So that's the idea, but there are many movements, as the questioner mentioned, and the movements may have different styles and means in terms of executing the idea. So the idea is one thing and needs to be judged on its own accord, and the movements are separate things and needs to be judged on their own merit as well.
Yeah, one quick point about Islamic law. It's worth remembering that Sharia is not and never has been the sole source of law in Islamic society. Equally important is Qanun, which is laws passed by emirs, not on a religious basis, but administrative law. And Sharia has next to nothing to say about the administration and governance. And on top of that, even more importantly, there's the sphere of urf in Arabic, or riwaj in Urdu, which is popular custom and practice. And actually, if one looks closely at the values that the Taliban are seeking to enforce, it has much more to do with Pakhtunwal, which is the riwaj of the Pakhtun people, the urf of the Pakhtun people, than it has to do with Sharia. And I absolutely agree with people who say there's a meant for